Welcome to Zero Hanger Hard Knocks, where each week, each team cops a hard knock or a burning question. We are fresh off round 13, so let's kick it off. A new rock bottom has been hit. Adelaide's loss to Richmond is arguably the lowest of the low under coach Matthew Nicks. In a season that promised so much yet delivered so little, most probably thought a defeat to an injury-depleted Tiger side at Adelaide Oval was far-fetched. Nope. Languishing in 14th spot and 10 points behind 8th, for now, puts Nick's position in jeopardy and puts a line through the season in 2024. Albeit examples of Carlton and the Giants rising from the Ashes 12 months earlier, it's safe to say the Crows won't be relishing the opportunity, and with dates against Sydney, GWS and Brisbane at the Gabba to come, a bottom 4 or 3 finish has quickly become a reality. Are finals back on the agenda? Brisbane were out of the finals race, but a mini resurgence has them back in the mix. Friday's comprehensive victory over the Bulldogs was the most complete game from the Lions, employing all tactics and strategies effectively to win by 43 points. Eric Hipwood's half dozen set the tone, while Lachie Neale's performance was worthy of the 3 votes, and with a few soldiers to return over the next few weeks, there's still a glimmering hope for Chris Fagan and his men to start the path of destruction towards finals. Did the Blues get the steal of the trade period? He only cost Carlton a swap of later draft selections in the trade period last year, and he's now kicking 3 goals from 19 touches in front of almost 90,000 fans at the MCG. So, is Elijah Hollands the steal of the 2023 trade period? He started strongly for the Blues this year after moving from the Gold Coast Suns and looks to be rising to the expectations. Carlton fans will be over the moon with his addition, while rivals might be thinking why they didn't show stronger interest. The Pies will be fine with or without Nick Daicos. While Collingwood star Nick Daicos couldn't quite shake a tag on Monday, it proved to be no issue for the rest of Craig McRae's side as they chalked up another win over the Demons despite Daicos' season-low 15 disposals. It's an area of the young ball winner's game he'll look to learn from, but it was a big positive for the Pies to get the job done without the influence of the All-Australian midfielder. Should Bombers fans be concerned with their top pick's form? He's still young and learning the ropes at AFL level, but the fundamentals of Elijah Sardis' game look to have taken a hit in his 18 months at Tullamarine. Drafted as a high IQ player who can move the ball well, Sardis looks to be short on confidence as he moved at just 50% efficiency on Sunday night. It was the 5th time in 7 games for Sardis this year he was used as the sub. Maybe a spell on the VFL for the next few weeks might do the former top 5 pick some good. Is it time the Cats look to blood some new talent? Despite a strong start against Sydney on Sunday, the Cats couldn't hold on to an upset win and again saw their flag chances take a hit. So, is it time for Chris Scott to start experimenting at selection? Geelong's reserves have been one of the stronger sides in the VFL, with draftees Connor O'Sullivan and Lawson Humphries banging on the door for a senior chance. 2023 mid-season draft edition and Mitch Hardy can't do much more at the state league level either, with some fringe Cats a potential catalyst for Chris Scott's campaign. Why can't the Gold Coast win away from home? Gold Coast's horrid run away from home continued on Saturday with a disappointing loss to St Kilda. Poised to break the hoodoo and claim a scalp on the road, Damien Hardwick's men played restrictive and dour football, resulting in a measly 7 goals. With co-captain Tuke Miller well held, the other stars failed to make an impact. Jed Walter and Bailey Humphrey were barely sighted, while Matt Rowell didn't have the influence he'd like. In the pre-game, assistant coach Wayne Campbell said the club changed its pre-game routine to assist with the attempted victory. Back to the drawing board, it seems. Have the Giants been figured out? The Giants weren't able to win the crucial contest enough on Saturday, and aside from a brilliant individual performance from Xavier O'Halloran, some of their prime movers struggled to influence. Sam Taylor and Lee Kalir combined for 8 intercept possessions, which is very low on their usual output. Toby Green and Jesse Hogan could only put a goal each on the scoreboard, while the Giants failed to capitalise on the ruck dominance. Has the Orange Tsunami been figured out? Are the Hawks finals bound? After a slow start to the season, the Hawks are currently on a tear, but are finals a realistic option? If Saturday's win is anything to go by, then September is around the mark. An inaccurate first half saw Hawthorn trail at half-time, but they got their mojo together quickly after the main break. Prime movers Will Day and James Warple started to make big impacts, while Josh Weddle was thrown in every position on the ground in a coaching masterclass by Sam Mitchell. Veterans Jack Gunston and Luke Bruce continue to contribute, while the next wave of young stars continue to emerge as the future of the club. What's the issue with Jack Viney? Melbourne's heart and soul midfielder looks to be a shell of the player we've come to know over the past decade, with his numbers and impact significantly lower than years gone by. He's certainly not the sole reason for Melbourne's woes over the past month or two, but with Christian Petrarca potentially facing some time on the sidelines, the likes of Viney and Clayton Oliver need to rise to the occasion given the endless opportunities that skipper Max Gawn serves up each week in the ruck. When will North Melbourne's next win come? The Roos have finally snapped their winless start to 2024, notching up a maiden win over the weekend against West Coast in front of a fiery Eagles crowd. So, with one victory on the board, when should we expect North Melbourne to double their wins tally? Could the Suns be susceptible in a month's time when they have to travel to face the Roos, because we know that their away record this year is poor? The Roos also face Richmond and West Coast in rounds 21 and 22 and could pinch another win then. Is there a light at the end of the Tigers' tunnel? There hasn't been much joy for Richmond in 2024, but Thursday's win over Adelaide in Adelaide is definitely something to smile about. Samson Ryan, Seth Campbell, Noah Cumberland, Tyler Sonsie, Thompson Dow, Tom Brown, Ryan Mansell, Hugo Ralph-Smith. Not one of those over 24, but all stood up in the heat of the battle. Without their stats jumping off the page, they all did their best and with very little experience. Despite the likelihood of being a bottom 3 side in 2024, the future is becoming brighter, albeit ever so slightly. A win's a win. St Kilda's win over Gold Coast was not pretty. Far from pretty. Keeping their season alive, the Saints somehow managed to snatch victory from the Suns in a terrible spectacle of the sport. 14 goals collectively, whilst the ball was turned over more often than not. Ross Lyon's trademark defensive game was on show, whilst their attack still lacked conviction. To their credit, the Saints are in most contests, but must change their ball movement and use going inside 50 to see any semblance of a resurgence. Can anybody stop the Swans? They've been the premiership favourites for some time now, but Sydney's case for the flag is only growing stronger each week. Even when they looked to show some weakness on Sunday, the Swans just flicked the switch and pulled themselves back in front of the Cats to notch up their 11th win of the year. With stars across the field and two big names in Callum Mills and Luke Parker yet to play this year, it's hard to see anyone stopping the Swans on their way to September. Bad kicking is bad football. West Coast shot themselves in the foot. 17 behinds in the loss to North Melbourne will hurt the Eagles. 3 behinds apiece to Jack Darling and Jamie Cripps set the frustrating tone, not capitalising on the first half dominance. Slotting 2:15 up until the final change gave the Eagles almost no shot before a late run in the last quarter. The Kangaroos took their chances and that was ultimately the difference. The Bulldogs of old, once again. The Western Bulldogs were outgunned and outclassed by a hungry Lions outfit. Whatever they chucked at the visitors, the Dogs couldn't gain any ascendancy. Lachie Neale got off the chain, Eric Hipwood made Liam Jones look second-rate, Joe Danaher was impressive. After a positive month that yielded 3 wins and a 14-point loss to Sydney, the Dogs were on an upwards trajectory. But how wrong would be? Luke Beveridge has a way of gathering his troops for a response, but this trend can't continue if they are to return to finals. And those are our hard knocks heading into round 14. Are we right? Are we wrong? Are we asking the right questions? Let us know what you think in the comments, subscribe to that YouTube channel, and catch all the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com, the #1 independent AFL news source.